Every time I try to get out, they keep dragging me back in. What an absolute unit! This is my Turbo Slant 6 Valiant project, and I gave up on it like a bunch of times. But so many people said, please don't give up on that Turbo Slant 6 project. We want to see it finished. That I've decided to try and do that. If you follow the channel, then you have to know the deal on this car, but real quick, in case you're somehow new, this is a 170 cubic inch slant 6. It's pretty much stock and original. I did kind of sort of clean up and freshen the head. It got a set of head studs, a new shim gasket, and valve springs, and other than that, it is fully bone stock mechanically. I home built a turbo setup for this thing utilizing a factory slant 6 manifold, a flange I poorly welded on there, and the world's cheapest turbo kit off of eBay. My plan for this build has always been multi-point fuel injection, as well it should be. However, in previous outings, I installed an MSD atomic system, which kind of worked okay until the little control screen died. Then I tried this kill shot system, which was absolutely terrible. I had a friend custom fabricate a 4-barrel manifold for me. It was terrible, so we tried this Offenhauser unit instead. It didn't help at all. Later, I tried 2 different 4-barrel carburetors, and everything about this setup was still just bad. Before taking the car out and giving it the decent burial it rightfully deserves, I decided to try a BBD 2-barrel. Suddenly, as you saw in the introduction there, it runs absolutely perfect. If all I wanted in life was a nice running slant 6 car to turn into a daily driver, well, this would be that. But that's not what I want. I want something more exciting for this car, and the viewers want it too. And I've already done all the hard work of making the turbo setup fit in this car. I've cut holes in the rad support. I custom spaced the grille just to make that little bit more room for an intercooler back there. I even cut sections out of the grille's vertical support bars to make way for piping. I went to great lengths to make this setup work, and it seems like a real shame to just throw it away. So today, armed with some fresh enthusiasm and a slightly enhanced understanding of how fuel systems work on this teeny tiny little engine, I'm going to put the turbo setup back where it belongs and see if we can finally make this thing actually work. I'm going to work through things as methodically as I can here. I want to make one change at a time and record the results. The first thing I'm going to do is remove this HEI ignition. I just put this on to test. It confused many people who were new to this disaster because there's also an MSD box sitting here not doing anything. I've decided to stick with the MSD box on here, and I have my reasons for that. I've concluded it was never the issue, and it's fine. I did decide to take this Blaster 2 coil off in favor of that Flamethrower 3 one. The reason for that is, well, the tower on this is cracked. Always was. Okay, I think that's wired back up, right? Ugh. Yeah. Sounds as great or terrible as it ever did. It's loud. Kind of smoky. I swear to you, I've bought multiple boxes of those female crimp spade connectors recently for this project. Can't find any anywhere. I guess a red one will do. Oh, I probably could have capped that connection. Up next, things get serious because we're going to put the turbo back in. We're not going to plummet anything just yet, but we're going to put it in and run it with the engine to make sure everything stays happy. Of course, to do this, I need a mini starter, and I don't have the one that was on here anymore. I guess I'm just going to have to buy one of these a week forever now. We'll put that one over there because you know we're going to need it. And now we've got a core. Had to wait a minute to run to the parts store, so I'm messing around with other Slant 6 stuff. Is it too late to... In between everything else going on around here, I'm getting Vivian's engine ready for paint. It sure looked like it was going to leak between the manifolds in there. Thankfully, a commenter reminded me about the Remflex gaskets for these. Of course, I had one the whole time. I officially know more than I ever wanted to know about putting Slant 6s together. It's quite a while later for no particular reason at all, and the mini starter is in place. I can't remember if I took that wiring extension thing off of the first one. Yes. You pretty much have to pull these things off of those newer mini starters in almost all cases. I've just been reminded this block was cast on 80s Day, Christmas Eve, 1963. This is a 64 engine in a 63 car. Original or not, it doesn't really matter. I'm sure we can blow it up either way. Was there always a starter contact problem right here? I don't remember that, but I'm gonna have to do some grinding. Sure getting tired of lifting that thing in and out. I did grind it for starter clearance. Hopefully it's fine now. Decided I should probably reinstall the brace because I fabricated this manifold. I don't know what kind of bolts these are I came up with when I first assembled the turbo setup. I custom ground this one to fit in that goofy corner by the bracket. And as you can see, it's scalded to hell now. At long last, there it is. My most glorious creation, the Super Duper 6. We're not gonna boost the BBD. Probably. It's a new day, and I am fully focused on like 4 different things, as usual. Turbo feed line is attached to the engine again, purging it by spinning the engine with the new starter. Yep, it's oil. Oh, the manifolds are also bolted back down, by the way. Priming turbo. Crank's so nice. Okay, obviously nothing's plumbed to the turbo. All my wastegate control hoses are ripped, which is nice. I did put an air filter on so it doesn't pull in any small animals or anything. Everything's kind of safe. Let's start it and make sure it still sounds happy. It's cold today. It's happy, all right. Sounds great. Oh, slightly smoky. It's pretty typical. Yeah, buddy. It likes the BBD. It doesn't mind breathing through a turbo at all. So, we have a 170 slant that runs really nicely with this BBD 2-barrel. And we have a turbo that really wants to shove pressurized air into that 170 slant. Boosting the BBD carburetor is a terrible idea. But what if I did it anyway? Why that fuel looks so terrible? Anyway, the biggest problem with this, the brass floats. See, these things are known to just collapse under boost. I currently don't have a solution for that. I thought about doing something silly like taking a Holly float and hacking it up to fit in here. Dude, I had a greasy mini starter here the whole time trying to scheme up a reasonable donor for floats. The Holly 1945 in some applications apparently uses a nitrofill float. Nitrofill is that foamy material. That stuff's not going to crush under boost. It'll continue to work as a float. Even if it has nitrofill, there's no guarantee it's going to fit in the BBD because the footprint is very different. I have a bunch of quadrajets. Those all use a single centrally mounted float. Not helpful. If I had a Holly 2-barrel on hand other than this crappy home modified one, it would already be on there. What I could do, might do even, is take the floats out of a spare BBD like this piece of garbage and fill them with foam, thus solving the problem. I found a float from a Zenith or Stromberg carburetor online that looks like it would fit in here with some modification. Don't really want to order that and wait. The other thing I've seen people do is hack the brass sections off and then attach nitrofill floats by soldering the original arm to this arm. That all just sounds like a lot of work. Now, the other important thing to know is most of the people crushing brass floats are not using BBDs. They're using carburetors with bigger brass floats, so these might hold up better. Either way, we're only going to make 8 to 10 pounds of boost. So you know what? I think I'm just going to ignore this for now and run it. The other issue, of course, is fueling. As this thing ingests more air, it's going to want more fuel to compensate. I don't know if the factory fueling settings on this are going to be anywhere near correct under boost. They probably won't be. I can tell you that this vacuum step-up piston will be all the way out under boost. So it'll definitely put these into the full rich situation, but I don't know if it'll be rich enough. I have a mad scientist friend I once saw reshape needles like this using sandpaper and a lot of patience. We could do that. We could change the jets or drill out the jets or do all sorts of things, really. So, remember I said the cooling system's empty? It's not. Just a giant horrible mess, that's all. Is any of that even going in the bucket? That was really stupid. Anyway, I pulled the radiator back out so I can reinstall the intercooler, after making a gigantic horrible mess, of course. Remember that time I took all this piping apart and reconfigured things to make this setup work on a truck? I don't remember doing it at all, but it's messed up. This should be fun to figure out. You know what, Alan? I think pulling that plate was a good idea. It took a bit, but I pieced everything back together. This is the straight section I had to cut to get it to fit in here. Never have rolled a new bead on the end of that. When blowing this out under 20 pounds of boost becomes a problem, I'm sure we'll do that. It took some finagling and bending of the brackets, but the intercooler's back in there, just kissing the grill. and the radiator fits, so very nice. It's full of coolant once again, and it probably won't be long until I regret that. Working on getting everything pieced back together here, making various connections, tidying things over here. This has always been a nightmare, kind of still is, but we're getting places. Fuel is hanging out here, obviously. I do have the throttle bracket back on. I had to modify this so it would fit up top here. Previously, this factory bracket bolted down below under the exhaust manifold. I've got this goofy adapter thingy on here, which makes it all kind of sort of work. I still don't have any way to hook up the kickdown cable. That's not my primary concern right now. I've got the manual boost controller hooked up again. It's actually inside, mounted through the dash, so you can reach it from the driver's seat. Here's the loop that connects the cold side of the turbo to the wastegate. I think this was the connection I used for boost referencing the fuel pump on the truck. I capped that off. Blow off is reconnected. Fuel pressure regulator reconnected. Got this hooked to the front of the carburetor here. Haven't had the PCV valve connected in quite a while, but I made up a new hose for that. Just seemed like a thing that I should do. Haven't had the vacuum advance connected either. This is still a factory electronic distributor, not my locked out one. I'd like to switch back to that at some point, but this will do for now. Anyway, I have a hose here for vacuum advance. I'll probably connect it here. This is manifold vacuum, not ported vacuum like the factory would have used, but it'll work fine. Boost gauge is connected there. All of the things are coming together, except one very important one, and that is, of course, a carb hat. You think I could just buy one for a BBD? So I'm going to make one. I found this random bearing race in my pressing crap collection. I think if I grind out those two little areas, it'll fit the BBD properly. I'll have to get a gasket underneath here, and I need to come up with a hook. Then we'll have a stud here. The thing I haven't decided yet is if I'm going to clamp that thing down with the stud and then use some sort of boot to connect to it, or if I might use a 90-degree piece of piping, cut that down, weld it to that adapter thing, drill a hole in it, and run a stud all the way through. Well, that was a cute idea, but it actually doesn't fit. That inner diameter hits the air horn section there. I'm not willing to spend my whole life grinding this or cutting that. Of course, this circle has to be some goofy dimension. It's like 2 3/4, so 2.5 pipe is too small, 3 inches too big. Found a header flange that's close, but there's just no way a gasket is going to seal that. My other genius idea was to cut up a 2-barrel air cleaner base. Of course, I had a crappy rusty one, perfect for this, and I threw it away. It's really annoying how close to perfect that is. This is an adapter from a ball joint press. I have duplicates of these things. Now, you can see it's a little big, but if we offset it this way just a bit, it misses the cutouts back here. It's on the plate. It's going to seal there with a proper flat gasket. I think all I need is a 2.5 90. This is almost that, but not quite. The corrugated aspect of the bend there, probably not ideal for airflow, but it's better than no charge hat. The amount of time today I've spent digging around through piles of junk, trying to find little pieces of junk that I can piece together. Absolutely ridiculous. I wish I had a pipe bender and, you know, some talent. Yep, it's a pipe. Must be the right place. Ugh. Oh, look, another table. This table's missing some stuff. Anyway, here's all my BBD cores in the world. I'm gonna take this little holdy thingy and this seal, and then we'll be in business. Pretty easy to lose a finger removing these things, but I got it. This thingy turns out to be a really good fit on the factory gasket. I do have the pipe marked here. This is basically what I'm thinking. Now, cutting it at this angle is gonna mess up the circle. It won't be a circle, but that's okay. Not an perfect circle. Not a straight cut either. Anyway, yeah, something like that. Welded to a piece attached to the base with a hole through here for a stud. And also that's not the angle it'll sit at. It'll be like this-ish. So springy. Immediate problem. You've heard of engineering, right? Change of plans. I think I'm gonna go back to this collector flange thingy. There was the issue of the little gaps back here. Once that gasket's in there, they're covered, but I think I'm gonna have to come up with like a solid disc and then a second gasket, and that'll probably work. Then I can just cut this thing about here, weld the two pieces together, and figure out a stud hole. We'll be in business. You know, the most annoying part in all of this, that gap. Might be able to solve it with a Cummins intercooler boot, but these things are expensive. Look at that. Almost like I know what I'm doing, although I promise you I do not. A little bit of trimming, grinding, and improving that fit, and we can send it with a welder. I'm tired of filing, Grandpa. Gaps are pretty decent. Tack welded, badly, like a glove. Laid down some of my classic Instagram welds, you know, stacked some dimes in there. Apprentice must have come in and ground them down while I wasn't looking. Now I could come in here and smooth this transition with additional welding all the way around here and then grind all that nice and smooth and pretty. I'm not going to. I did decide I could probably improve this flange a little bit. Look at how flat that is now. The level of engineering on display here is truly amazing. Now I just need to put a hole in it and add a flat spot, and that's where we'll put some sort of fastener on the top. It'll probably have to be about, I don't know, 1/2 inch across or something. That dot is the center now, but by the time I dent this, well, it won't be anymore. It might be like between these two. I don't know. They don't breathe any of that. Well, it's a good thing that doesn't need to be perfectly centered or flat. I am so proud of myself right now. And now it's black. You know, I cleaned the inside extensively. Probably could have cleaned the outside. The paint's not going to stick at all. Oh yeah, buddy. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that it's like 100% boost proof right here, but you know what else isn't 100% boost proof or even like 90% boost proof? Choke shaft. Probably the throttle shafts too, really. And whatever this is, everything is connected and tight. I even added a throttle return spring again. I don't know that I've said enough about how this is not going to work well. It might work, but it almost certainly won't work well. Let's find out. Oh, I still need to put premium in this thing. What a unit. Needs to warm up, obviously. Slightly obnoxious noise. I still intend to build an airbox for this someday. Oh, yeah, the boost leak there is atrocious. Among other places. Tighten the hat down just a little bit, and that did seal this up. But when I throttle it and then let off, I can feel boost coming around this plate. So that's clearly not sealed all the way. I'm sure it's leaking from here too. We need this to be sealed inside that system. If it's not, pressure going into the bowls can push fuel and boost out of here. Aired up the totally flat front tire. That's not even the one that used to leak all the time. This thing needs tires desperately. It needs working wipers desperately. It needs all the brakes gone through. It needs that headliner ripped out. It needs a lot of stuff. If you will just work, I'll be nice to you and do all those things I just said. Please? Gave it a shake. Didn't hear any fuel in that tank. Pretty sure it's going to run out any moment. Oh, I noticed some exhaust leaks too. You know, that might be because I never torqued these bolts. Nuts. Whatever they are. I've got the Remflex gasket, and I will put it in there just as soon as we finalize the manifold configuration, because I don't want to throw away $40 for no reason. It's been a really long time since I put a timing light on this thing. Got to go grab that out of the truck. We're going to keep it out of the boost until we know where the timing is set. Mostly. More transmission fluid, probably a good idea. Still no kick down, need to engineer that, among other things. Pulling all the vacuum in the world. Okay, it only built to the lower single digits, so. Oh God. Yeah, transmission fluid. Transmission fluid, good idea. Carter BBD. This car is just the coolest. Needs a bath. I can hear a cylinder dropping out. Yeah, that noise. And it smells a little bit rich, so I probably need to take some idle fuel out now. Temp gauge does still work. Pretty sure that means the fuel does too. Got the timing light hooked up. Now you heard the way this thing starts and runs. Pretty decent. Aside from that one time it got weird with the starter, it's been okay. You know, cranks nice, fires right off. Take a random guess at how many degrees of advance I had dialed in at idle by ear. No, you're wrong. It was 54. Okay, now it's at 10 degrees base. I don't know what kind of curve we've got in this distributor. I really need to put the locked out one back in. Here's how it sounds with no load at 10 degrees. Pretty darn good, aside from all the boost. boost leaks, of course. There's our current total. We need that to be 24, so we need to put this thing at like 2 degrees advanced base. It's certainly efficient. Here's the temperature gauge. This is with 0 fans connected. I don't have an EFI system controlling those anymore. I need to figure something out for that. Thermostat's open. Remember that horrible mess I made? Yeah. Anyway, we're at 2 degrees now, so that's good. Let's see how it sounds. Okay. Better than I expected. Obviously, that's with no load still. Messed with the idle mixtures just a little bit more. It was pretty close. It's not getting hot, but it is getting a little warm. I guess I'm gonna wire up these fans somehow. Locking the distributor down before I forget. This is easily done on a slant 6 with a 3-foot long extension and a 7/16 socket, of course. Someday, for obvious reasons, I wanna get rid of every terrible shred of wiring I put in this thing, just throwing stuff at it, trying to make it work, and start from scratch. But today is not that day. So I'm repairing the wiring that I had to cut to pull the radiator and fans out, like this. When and if there's another computer in this car, the way it will control the cooling fans is by grounding out this wire. Of course, for momentary purposes, I can just do this. Now, barring that, I could take out this probe, which is for a computer, and swap that bad boy out for a temperature switch to activate the fans. Uh-oh! Just a wee bit of gas going everywhere around a worn-out throttle shaft, which should come as no surprise to anyone that knows things about BBDs. That happened because I currently have this thing configured working off vacuum. So when it's running, the vacuum's pulling that down to like 2 or 3 PSI. The problem is when it's not running and the pump's on and there's no vacuum present, the pressure's probably going to like 10. I already learned this the hard way once, but I forgot the regulator does not need to be vacuum referenced for this application. It only needs to be boost referenced, so that actually needs to be run to this connection. Or it can go to the hat, but we don't have a hat line. Then I dial that pressure back down. It'll be usable with no vacuum, and once boost comes in, the pressure will rise by 1 pound of pressure for 1 PSI of boost. Our poor factory needle and seat here certainly can't handle fuel pressure in the double digits. Now, once there's boost in the vents of the bowls, that pressure will be fighting the fuel pressure. That's why you have to raise the pressure with boost. Only slightly flooded. Now remember our base timing set at 2 degrees? This is where the vacuum advance comes in, because if this gets connected to manifold, now we get all of that at idle, and it'll be way happier. But under boost, that advance will go away immediately. Matter of fact, you don't even need boost for that advance to go away. Just low vacuum in the manifold. This is sounding pretty good. It won't be making much boost without a load. You can see where the pressure is now. It's about 7.5, 8. Anyway. You can see it starts to rise there when boost pressure builds. Relay control wire, grounded. I almost can't believe this, but it's been a year and 18 days since I released the video where I first got to drive this thing under boost. And at that time, it was kind of awesome, but only for brief moments. I'm hoping today's experience will be a little bit less brief. That's it, darling. Drink up. Oh, hey, random request. I need a set of pedals for this car. They would fit an early A-body, 1966 and older. I have like 3 of the correct early A-body 4-speeds to put in this thing. I don't think that push button's long for this world. So yeah, if you're sitting on a set of those pedals, let me know, please. Check the brakes. They're fine. Yeah, horrible mess. Hey, you might notice right next to the master cylinder is an unused wideband sensor connector. I'd love to have a gauge hooked to this thing, but I don't own such a thing. If I hadn't foolishly ripped the ACES system out of here completely, I could have used that thing to monitor fuel ratios. We're not making the big boost today. We're aiming for like mid to high single digits. So I think it'll be fine. If it sounds like it's going to explode, I'll take my foot out of it. A week ago, there was a spare 170 bottom end right there. And I have it on good authority that if you have a spare engine, the one in your car will never die. But yeah, that ship has sailed. You think you want fuel injection. What you want is the Carter BBD. Anyway, we're still running on crappy fuel. I'm gonna try to run it out of gas. Ideally, like, at the exact moment I get back to this driveway. Why is the wheel upside down? Why do the brakes pull semi-violently to the left? These are all things I don't actually want to know. Wow. Keep your foot out of it, and it's just a happy slant 6 with a little bit of a whistle. Like 2 pounds. I think I need to tweak the accelerator pump. Just seems like it's going rich right when I get into it. It's fine. I don't know what that was. Ooh, I should grab the fire aid. Anywhere near full throttle, in case you were wondering. Huh. I don't know if it's going fat there or unfat. If only I had a wideband. Dude, I have a working brake light. Just one though. I just remembered that sitting out here revving the turbo slant is what got a rock thrown at me. Ha! That guy moved. Fuel buying adventure. Imagine if we could make the turbo slant as peppy as the 2-liter twin cam Neon RT. That would be cool. Yeah. You know, a Neon's basically just like a Valiant in a surprising number of ways. Don't bother trying to pour. Don't go get a funnel. This is the only way to put fuel in an early A-body out of a can. Cat, what are you doing? I set the siphon at the correct height to leave 1.5 gallons or 2 in there. If I put all of this in the tank, this project will be an abysmal failure. Spooky. In case you were wondering, yes, the turbo drain still leaks. Oh. Forgot about the throttle adjustment. Oh, I guess I skipped a step. Well, there goes the day. Still have to test this thing. I think I'm contractually obligated. Have I ever mentioned that this thing is absolutely mint? It's downright legal. Well, almost. Why is that light such a quitter? Nothing is ever that easy. Woo! Things are definitely getting serious now. I reinstalled the battery hold down. So far, well, it's no powerhouse, but it is making turbo noises. Let's see what kind of boost we're making. It takes a while to get there. You know, this turbo is not very well suited to this application. That's 3 pounds. That's not a lot of pounds. I have noticed I kind of have to let off when it shifts, otherwise it does what you just heard. I'm not sure why that is yet. What a ridiculous machine. The highest I've seen is 4 or 5 pounds of boost. I have noticed it builds boost nicer if I roll gently into it. If I just floor the throttle, it gets really mad. AFR gauge. What a good idea. Well, nothing's exploded in pieces yet. Don't see gas going everywhere. All these connections are still tight. I have quite the reputation of not getting these clamps tight enough and then boots blow off. Plenty of heat in that intake. Probably because someone put a turbo right there. Stupid dogs. Things are seeming pretty good here. So I'm going to try something I've never attempted with this car, and that is just driving down the road. It hasn't gone any farther than half a block from this driveway since I got it running. Yeah, totally works. The idle raised itself. Kind of weird. I don't know if I mentioned this. I haven't gapped the plugs for boost. Probably not ideal. Dude, it's even got blinkers. This thing is just amazing. I think I put new headlights in it. I don't actually remember. As I learned today, it's been more than a year since I started on this project. In addition to the bad wiper motor, this thing has a horribly blown heater core. Yeah, it's on the list. It does not handle nice at all. The steering's all loosey-goosey. The brakes are terrible. It pulls to the left violently. The tires are ancient. I think the lug nuts are tight. I did glance at them. I haven't done a river run in a really long time. I miss this. Oh, I'm going to be very blind. Yep, very blind. Spoolie noises. It doesn't go any faster, but it sounds cool. And then it just gets grumpy. Don't yell at me. The brakes do work. They just don't work well. Made it. Did not perish. I don't know what the idle speed thing's about. I turned it down as much as I could. Now my cable adjustment's holding it ever so slightly. It's just happier now. Oh, or maybe I blew a plug or a line or a gasket and it's got a giant vacuum leak. That would make sense. I don't see anything. Maybe intake gasket. That would make sense. Listen, I don't even care. That is a running, driving, boosted Slant 6 Turbo Signet Valiant thing. What a great day. Typical classic Chrysler. The dash lights are sometimes here. Now the dome light's dead too. No, still have running lights. Whee! Did I mention this drives really bad? Well, it does. Oh, I need more hands, and I can't see where the buttons are. There we go. Yeah, there's a mile of play in the steering. It just drags you everywhere. It's not good, but it's driving. That's a win. Dude, it sounds really good when it gets into just a little bit of boost. Oh, there's a horrible brake noise in the front right. That should come as no surprise. Tachometer would be a good idea. There's one sitting on the seat. I never got around to wiring it. I tried to pull an A-body in here after a successful test drive. It caught on fire. So today we're doing pretty good. So what did we learn? Well, a lot of things, actually. We learned yet again that Slant 6s and BBD 2-barrel carburetors go together like steak and taters. Apparently, even under boost. Do not do this. You've been warned. I'm sure this is obvious, But I've barely scratched the surface as far as tuning this animal. Part of the weirdness is probably down to the timing curve in the distributor. At some point, I'll be eliminating that and going back to this locked out one. That'll simplify tuning as far as the ignition is concerned. Oh look, a very small amount of gasoline. I'm not going to be able to make any informed tuning changes without data. And that is, in this case, an AFR gauge. You just need that to tune something like this. You could tune an old school V8 all day reading the spark plugs and using the seat of your pants, but under pressure, all bets are off. Quite a while ago now, I had a cool vintage looking AFR gauge sitting in my cart ready to order. Can't find that one now. This is pretty neat, but it's also not actually in stock anywhere. I guess the classic AEM is going to be the way. And I can save like $50 by getting it without a sensor. I already have that. Hopefully it still works. YouTube payday. I'd love to have a matching boost gauge, but I sure don't want to pay for it. I'll stick with the stupid ugly one. I don't know if you've noticed, but things around here have been going kind of good lately. Take the Swinger here as an example. Against all odds, I got this thing running. It involved a lot of elbow grease, some perseverance, huffing a bunch of fumes. That was a good time. Till it caught on fire, of course. Perky's replacement engine came apart quickly and amazingly is not a steaming pile of garbage. It might even go in here in the coming weeks. My Slant 6 build is like done. The 361 for the Coronet's coming together. I even got a blower. Not a good one. Still though. And now this rousing success. Victory snapped from the clutches of defeat. Don't you worry now. I'm sure the other shoe will drop at any time. Until then though, I'm just going to kick back and revel in this rousing success. Also move this leaky pile out of my shop. Friggin' BBD. Right back in the mud hole. And everything is right in the world again. I'm going to do something I haven't done for a year and actually take the keys out of this car because at this point, it could be driven away. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that. I know I certainly did. In any case, as ever, thanks for watching. And remember, don't give up on your dreams. Just stick with it. It might take a really long time to complete them. It might never happen. But don't get discouraged. Do awesome stuff. But again, and I can't stress this enough, don't do any of this. Ugh.